A big WrestleMania program might have just been absolutely wrecked, so we'll see what that's about. We'll also check out how this affects Seth Rollins, the Masked Man, and more. Starting things off with the absolute tragic news once again with The Vision. The Vision was a group that was first created in 2025 and truly discovered by Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. The initial mission of the group was for Seth and Heyman to discover talent that they really felt was the future of the company. That led to Bron Breakker being the first addition to the group, followed up by Bronson Reed a few months after that. That was the core original 3 members of The Vision. The Vision's initial direction was criticized by the fans in those first few months. Fans called out chemistry concerns and story issues. The group did not even have an official name until several months into their run together. Their first biggest and most controversial story was definitely Seth's fake knee injury. WWE decided it would be a big swerve on the fans if Seth faked a serious knee injury and paid it all off with a big cash-in at SummerSlam, and that's what they did. But there were some fans thinking it was a bit unethical and strange to base a storyline off a fake injury. A lot of fans just found that to be in poor taste. And barely a few months later, Seth Rollins ends up going down with an actual injury, completely tearing his shoulder apart. And the boy who cried wolf came into play here, and nobody believed the news of Seth's new injury after the whole fake injury story from SummerSlam. But this time, it was not part of a story and was real. So Seth's injury absolutely destroyed the long-term plans for The Vision. It was supposed to go on for a while, with the Brons eventually betraying Seth way down the line. But since Seth was gonna be gone from television for several months, WWE decided to move that betrayal on from the Brons extremely up in time, and they betrayed Seth Rollins and kicked him out of the group earlier than originally planned. That was a way to write Seth Rollins off of television and allow him to recover. All was going well for The Vision for a while. Not only were the Brons thriving, but now they added 2 more individuals to the group. Logan Paul and Austin Theory were brought into the group as full-time members. But things started to get rough for The Vision right around the week of Royal Rumble. Bron Breakker was a fan favorite heading into the Royal Rumble match, but the unthinkable happened. A new masked man appeared to screw Bron Breakker out of the Royal Rumble match, and just a few days later, Bron Breakker suffers a serious hernia injury. WWE says the hernia injury occurred for Bron Breakker during a gym session, while reports claim the hernia injury occurred during the Raw after the Rumble, where Bron was going berserk and flipped a commentary table with too much force. Regardless of where exactly the injury took place, the point of the matter was that Bron Breakker was dealing with this hernia injury and was out indefinitely, with some reports even claiming that he could end up missing 6 months if it remains looking this serious. And this Bron Breakker injury could not have come at a worse time. WWE obviously is investing a lot of time into Bron Breakker. It's WrestleMania season, and a Bron Breakker versus Seth Rollins WrestleMania matchup was highly rumored to take place at WrestleMania 42, with the rumor being that the masked man was Seth Rollins, who was seeking revenge on Bron Breakker and The Vision for kicking him out. So that was seeming like it was going to lead to that big reveal of Seth unmasking himself and coming after the guy who took him out. But when Bron Breakker went down, that story route was absolutely wiped off the table. But with the next man up mentality, a lot of individuals were looking at Bronson Reed as a potential WrestleMania fill-in for Bron Breakker. Seth may no longer be able to face Bron Breakker at WrestleMania 42, but he can face Bronson Reed, and the whole revenge angle would still work with Bronson Reed, as he was a part of the attack on Seth Rollins all those months ago. And reports did claim in recent weeks that Bronson Reed would be featured more in the spotlight of The Vision, with Bron Breakker being out of action. So it felt like this truly was the direction they were headed in, but tragedy struck hard on February 23rd. Bronson Reed was taking part in an Elimination Chamber qualifier against Jey Uso and El Grande Americano. But during the match, Bronson Reed tore his bicep and was examined by the medical team before taken to the back. Jey Uso would end up winning the match. Later on in the night, the commentators did confirm that Bronson Reed had torn his bicep and was out indefinitely. Reports claim that had Bronson Reed remained healthy in the match, he was supposed to be the original winner of the match and head into the Elimination Chamber match. But since Bronson Reed was hurt, the audible was for Jey Uso to win. So now, with a torn bicep, Bronson Reed is now wiped from the table as well. There was no masked man appearance on the February 23rd edition of Raw, most likely due to the early match exit by Bronson Reed. Had Bronson Reed remained in the match, It looks like that would have led to the Masked Man appearing and advancing the story. But since Bronson Reed exited early, the Masked Man's appearance was scrapped for the night. And with Bronson Reed originally planned for the men's Elimination Chamber match, fans still think the plan could have been for the Masked Man to once again strike Bronson Reed inside the chamber, and maybe there in that moment, it could have been the big Seth Rollins unmasking and reveal. WWE loves to have big attacks and reveals inside the Elimination Chamber match, so it does seem like that was a possibility. But with Bronson Reed now being out of action, this puts not only Seth's potential WrestleMania match in jeopardy, but it kind of feels like the entire Masked Man narrative is now pointless and unnecessary. If the Masked Man story was about Seth Rollins seeking revenge on the Vision for what they did to him and kicking him out, well, that narrative appears to be gone since all the original members are out with an injury. It was the Brons that attacked Seth Rollins. Those are the two that he needs to get revenge on. Logan Paul and Austin Theory had nothing to do with that moment of Seth getting kicked out of the Vision, since they weren't even a part of the group back then. So to have a revenge story take place for Seth Rollins, but for him to do it against Logan Paul and Austin Theory, two guys that had nothing to do with the removal of the Vision, it does set up a pretty awkward situation. With both of the Brons now being out, it has fans wondering if WWE will just scrap the Masked Man storyline altogether. It's going to require a major pivot to keep the story going because obviously the whole initial revenge route is no longer making sense if Seth targets the two remaining members of the Vision that weren't even part of the group at the time when he was kicked out. Fans cannot get over how cursed the Vision appears to be as a group. You're talking about Seth Rollins, Bron Breakker, and Bronson Reed all going down with freakish injuries in such a close time frame from each other. Some superstitious fans out there believe that the fake Seth Rollins knee injury probably caused this curse to happen. WWE wanted to fool the world with a fake injury angle, and now all the original members of the Vision are just dropping one after another with freakish injuries. It is pretty scary. Not only is the Masked Man storyline potentially destroyed, but the Vision as a whole is now potentially destroyed. The entire original members of the group are gone, and now the entire Vision faction just consists of Logan Paul and Austin Theory. So it's no longer a faction, it's pretty much a two-man tag team with two individuals who just joined the Vision not too long ago. So it really makes you wonder about what do they do now with the Vision? What happens to the Masked Man and Seth Rollins? In universe and within the storyline, the Masked Man should be loving this. The Vision is dropping like flies. It's what he wanted. So maybe the Masked Man does continue to come after Logan Paul and Austin Theory in the next few weeks. There's no other real way to pivot this story. If they're going to continue to use the Masked Man, he's got to come after whatever's left of the Vision. So we'll see what changes they end up making there. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.